Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Press Play Lifestyle Inspired podcast, where we do interviews with inspiring people like our friend Amy here to help you, our listeners, find the resources, tools, and support you need to be your best inspired selves. Hi, Amy. How you doing today?
Fine, Jackie. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I love your red glasses. They're so cute.
Yeah, at a certain age, you can't see anymore, but thank you.
You're welcome. They're very nice. So how about you tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself and what you do?
We don't have that much time, do we?
No, probably not, but a little
I
bit
have
about
a long history, but you can go look me up on LinkedIn or whatever. Yeah. So, so I'm a life and relationship coach, and I wasn't always a life and relationship coach. And, currently I help what I call seriously searching singles to find true love. And my brand is called Motivated to Marry, although not all my clients are motivated to marry. And I got trained and certified as a life coach because I felt it was important to have training and knowledge and not just say, well, I can help somebody, So there are a lot of people out there. Unfortunately, the coaching industry is starting to get very regulated. However, anyone can call themselves a coach, and you really do have to, I believe, find out what kind of training and certifications people have today. So I'm a real big believer in education. My own journey led me here. I was married at 25 and divorced in 36. I never planned to be divorced. But it happened. And I never had children with my first marriage, which was, looking back, I guess it was, a blessing, but I understand that, people have children, they have their children. So it changed my journey. And I was motivated to marry and have a family. So here I am at 36, single, and, on my quest. And I'm a seeker of knowledge. And of course, I did everything I could to try to see, well, why did I get myself in this situation? And why did this happen? And how can I prevent it from happening again? All that kind of thing. So, I'm one of these people. I'm lucky to be extroverted. So I don't have trouble meeting people, but I had trouble meeting the right guy. I have clients who even have trouble getting out there and where do I go? How do I meet people? I work with a whole range of people from introverts, extroverts, people who have had experience and no experience and whatever. So I felt like I was running around in circles. So I actually hired a coach when I turned 40. And he helped me see things in a different way. And he helped me uncover my blocks and my limiting beliefs. And I met my husband when I was 41. There is a backstory to that. Let's say I connected with him at 41. And so we were both very wanting marriage, wanting a family. And so I got engaged within 6 months and married within the year. So I was married by 42. Now, my husband was 47 when I met him, and he had never been married before. So one of my things that I was doing is I was judging people because they had never been married. And I had to be kind of called on my crap. So, and when you look deeper, and that's what I help my clients do, I see that my husband was on a path similar to me. He was working with a counselor and trying to figure out why he wasn't married. And so we connected. And we got married. And then my next journey was, Motivated to Motherhood, which I own the domain name, actually.
Nice.
So we did finally have my son in my 40s. That's another journey. That's another book. That's another, we are just three. I was not able to have any more children, and nor did I feel that I had the energy to put towards another child. We did consider adoption. We've been married now. It'll be 18 years this summer.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So, you exceed the number of years from your prior marriage. You're like, okay, I guess we're okay,
Yeah.
And there were challenges. as you know. There are always challenges. So it really is, how do you communicate with each other? How do you deal with conflict in a way that's respectful? I just finished binge watching Love is Blind. I didn't see the whole thing, but I think one part of the issues is definitely the communication and feeling heard and wanting, all that. So again, I don't take my clients just to the point where they meet the person. I actually help them get them all the way to engagement, or if they're just looking for a committed relationship, on that good path that they're going into the sunset and they're good, pretty much good. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
So what should you like? 'Cause I gotta imagine you're kind of getting out there a little older. You weren't like 20, and maybe the bar scene isn't really your way to go. So what should people consider when they're trying to get back out there and date again?
Yeah, well, I work with my clients and I do a comprehensive dating plan, and I do it based on their personality and their values and their interests and all some other things. And so it's really tailored to the individual. However, I found that there are top 3 ways that people meet today. And I don't care if you're 30 or you're 70, okay? So number 1 is through your network. Who do you know? So sometimes you do meet people through who you know, or where you hang out, or what kind of activities you do. So that's like the normal thing. But not everybody. There's some people have a very small circle of friends, and the more introverted people are not likely to want to ask somebody to help them. It has to be somebody, what I do in my program, we talk about connectors. Who are the connectors in your life? Who are the people who have nice social groups that like you, know you, trust you, and would be willing to like keep you in mind? You need to find your scouts. And so we developed something we call the 30-second infomercial, which is really like the 5 to 7 things you need to really communicate to your network about who you're looking for. Because most people kind of look at you, and if you say, oh, do you know anyone to introduce me to? At that moment, they're kind of put on the spot, and they're just like look like deer in the headlights, and they'll probably say, no, I can't think of anybody. But they may put it in the back of their minds if you can give them those couple of things to keep in mind. And then what I found when I did this exercise with some of my clients, and they shared it, and I tell them to share it with a certain like 5 people in your network, then people say, really? I didn't know that about you. So we have to orient people. People have a concept of you, and they may have known you from college, so they remember you from college, not who you are today. And so you really need to kind of adjust that. So through your network. Also is important, so your social network. And then through your activities, where you spend your time and how, especially when you're not working. And then also online dating has come up really, really, like 30% of all marriages come from online dating. And that's where my clients, I would say a majority of my clients are meeting. And when looking back of my successfully coupled clients, I would say 80% of my successfully coupled clients. Now, all my clients come to me and say, oh, Amy, I've tried online dating, it hasn't worked. And then I say, you haven't done it my way. So I'm, like today I got on, I looked at her profile, we did what I could, my quick feedback session. Not ready to do the full review and edit, but I saw some things that were really wrong. I'm like, why did you put 5-mile radius? Oh, did I? I didn't realize that. I'm like, well, you're limiting yourself. Or, she's very educated. She has a graduate degree, and I don't have anything, and she was open to dating people who are below, who don't have college degrees. But I called her on it, and I said, really, do you think that, given, and she's a single mom, and I'm sure she wants, do you think that that's something that so she's, tightened up her requirements, and so those kind of things. So anyway, so online dating is really huge today. If a guy is single, he's more likely to put himself online first. Yeah.
So why do you think that is, Amy? Why do you think guys are like much more able to just put themselves out there and ladies don't as much?
I'm not saying they don't do it as much. I think it's the easy thing to do, to put yourself online. They can do it at any time of day. Some of them are maybe on the little shyer side. I tend to work with a lot of introverted men. and they do really well online. They can express themselves in writing. The process kind of slows you down a little bit. You have the back and forth, getting to know each other, and then you would probably text or stuff. You get on the phone and talk to the person, hopefully. Now, not everybody does that. I do recommend it. And then you'll meet the person, and then you kind of warmed up the lead in the sense. Now, the only thing is whether the chemistry is there or not. And that's the thing that's kind of like, are we going in the friend zone, or are we going into the romantic zone?
Yeah.
Whereas when you see somebody in a room and you're like, oh, they're attractive, but you have no idea what their goals in life are, what their values are in life. Do they have, like, want the same things out of life that you do? You have no idea. So the online dating process actually gets to that information a lot quicker, because you can find out what you need, your minimal requirements. Like if you do want a family, there's ways of asking that question. How many children do you want? I mean, even there, like in Match, they like baby, there's a little baby carriage, yes or no. And you can filter people by that. So you're not wasting time with people who don't want the same things you don't want.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're like later in life and you feel like your clock is ticking, you don't want to go on 800 dates that aren't going to really come out the way you want them to, right?
And the man that I met, and so I met my husband through socials groups. And I actually met him at a singles dance 5 years earlier. But I wasn't divorced yet, and he was in a relationship I call the almost not quite relationship. And he was like, kind of like Ross, we're on a break. And so, I met him, and we went on one date, and he never asked me out again. So because I guess he perceived me as being too busy. I was a business owner, and he had his own issues, okay, at the time. So 5 years later, we run into each other at a group that's I live in Washington, D.C. for young professionals in our age group. It was called Bike and Brunch. And that is where we reconnected. And we were both in a much better place. I was working with my coach. He was he had just left that relationship and said, I'm not getting what I need from this, and I don't see it moving forward. So timing is important.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, is there like a magic number of dates it takes before you're kind of on like an exclusive relationship? Is it like, because you were pretty quick and you kind of mentioned that. I was like, it was 6 months and then we were married in a year. But is it like 3 dates? Is it 12 dates? Like what does that look like?
Again, it depends on the individual, but what I'm finding, it was interesting. So I have a Facebook group, the Motivated Married Singles group, and I do these polls. I said, how soon do you get into an exclusive relationship? And the number one answer was 3 to 6 dates. So when you connect and you kind of both, there's like a recognition. If you've done the work, there's a recognition that this is a good person. And you do have to strike at this age while the iron is hot. You have to, first of all, you have to show a guy that you're interested. And he has to feel, I mean, everybody at a certain point in life, they feel like, okay, I'm not perfect. I'm balding. I'm a little overweight. Who wants me? Those gremlins really take over. And so you really need to make somebody feel like they're special and you really want to be with them, and vice versa. You want that too. And when both people are in and they're engaged and they feel like, wow, I found this person, then I think people are willing to say, okay, I'm going to give it 3 to 6 months and see where it leads. And, because you have to build trust, and you can't build trust until you commit to one another, at least for an exclusive relationship. And I have time frames in my program, based on your age and your life situation, how long and what your goals are. You should be in a relationship before you be engaged. So I was in the age group, which is, where, the clocking, the ticking clock was there. So, I mean, basically I was expecting to be engaged within 6 months, basically. I didn't have time to waste, but you don't want to push it either. And I've seen mistakes made. And I had a girlfriend who wanted a second child. She was a single mom, and she they got engaged within 3 months, and they did marry within 6 months. And I thought that was a little quick, personally. I mean, I do recommend that you go a full year with someone before you get married, because you have to go through all the seasons and the holidays, and you really need to know, do we have what it takes to last for the long haul? And you have to go through certain experiences together. And so, when I saw Love is Blind, I was like, it was kind of like, it's a little too soon. I mean, yes, it may work out, and we all have heard those stories. And I would say, for the most part, people really want to be, today, I mean, especially in that age group, anyone 35 and under, I mean, at least a year. I had a client, she was 33 when she came to me, and she met her boyfriend, fiance, and it was kind of funny because after 6 months, she's, I'm good, we're on a good path. I'm like, fine, see you later. And he was on my list too, my email list. So he took himself off my email list. And I knew they were in the DC area, and I did know them. And I said, I was like, oh, and then I went to my client, which is a female, and I said, Debbie, do you have something to tell me? And she goes, yeah, we got engaged. And it was to the year. It was to the year, yeah. So awesome. It's like getting my blessing. My nephew got married in his early 30s. I kind of, I just think, I got married too young. I got married at 25. I didn't really know myself. I didn't know what I wanted. I thought I did. So, I think you can hang out a while with each other just to see how life is going to go, because, I did not, my husband and I went like this, we wanted different things. We saw life in a different way. I was not the right woman for him. I mean, he saw it sooner than later, and unfortunately he didn't know how to communicate it in a kind way. But, I mean, I think, he was right. But looking back, we're kind of in love and kind of stupid when we're in our 20s. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
I wrote a book. I don't know how old you were when you got married.
So I was 23 when I got married. My husband and I but we started dating in 1996, and we got married in 2000. And so we've been married for 20 years, and hopefully still going strong. We made 4 kids, so we did something right. Let's see. But I think everyone's different. Like I'm in my mid 40s, and most of our friends aren't still together. I mean, people that were getting married when we were getting married, or they're on like their second marriage. And I think you figure it out, or you don't, right? It works or it doesn't.
Yeah. But I bet you have like values and, everything aligned. And
yeah, and I think that was it.
I have a niece that got married really young. I was really worried about her, but they're fine. They've got a couple of kids, and they seem happy. I mean, it's hard, but you're there, you're in it together, and then there's family support, which is nice.
Yeah, I think we got lucky in that we both have the same things that are important to both of us, but otherwise we're pretty laid back. So it works. So we don't really bicker about much. We don't have fights about much, because there's only a few key things that we're even willing to argue about, and luckily we agree on them. So
nice.
And I think over time we've gone like this, right? You grow up, you grow in, you grow up, you go in, and we're just in it. We're in it for the long haul.
Some people grow up together and grow together, and some people grow apart, and I think, so yeah. So, I mean, I have a high school friend who married a high school sweetheart, and they're still married. So.
Yeah, and I have a friend the same thing. Like, I was like, really? Wow, you guys are still together. That's awesome. Feel good for you. So with all of this information and all these clients you've had and all this personal experience, I think didn't you mention you've written a book recently? Is that?
Well, not recently. So this is, okay. And the thing is, I'm working on getting more copies. I have some copies, but there's a whole thing with Amazon and CreateSpace and stuff like that. So I wrote a book called Get It Right This Time. This is, and it's still good and the information's still good. But a lot of my more current information is on my website, motivatedtomarry.com. And I wrote a little pre-book to this, which is Motivated to Marry, which is Now There's a Better Method to Dating Relationships, which is a 40-page ebook, which is very affordable, and that's on my website as well. So it's downloadable, and it's, and it's two things to a page, so it's really 20 pages of your paper, unfortunately. Or if you have, I haven't figured out. I have to get all this stuff on Kindle and whatever. I mean, that's one of my projects soon. But I hope to write the bigger, better book for Motivated to Marry. I have a lot of material, and my online coaching program, the Motivated to Marry Dating Secrets, is my most recent, has all my information. There are audios and worksheets and articles, and I keep adding things as I'm working with my clients. The thing about who are your connectors came when I was working in a session. I said, well, let's talk about who are your connectors in your life. And then I started writing. Then I'm actually have a technical pre-life background. So I started, making a little chart and stuff like that. And now it's in my program, so I'm very practical and strategic, and I have the coach training. So then, I'm a little bit of a cross between woo-woo and the practical,
I call myself tech woo. I'm same kind of thing. I have 20 years of software development life before going into coaching, and it's a nice mix. I think your clients will like your ability to give practical advice, but also, there are some great techniques that, certified coaches know or have learned that will feel a little bit woo woo, but you and I probably look the science side of it up. So, that's a good way to get there. So how can people find you and make sure if they are trying to find, if they're motivated to marry?
Information out there. I have so Motivated to Marry. I have a blog. I send out almost every week a newsletter with some information and tips. I have a Facebook group, Motivated to Marry Singles. We're 700 men and women. All my stuff is with men and women. I don't do just one gender. I love the conversation between people in the same sex, and we learn from each other. So I think that's what makes me unique. And I was once with a coach, and she said, "You're so good with men," and I am good with men, and the nerdier the better too. And and she says, "You should just coach men." And I'm like, no. I mean, I looked, it said over half of my clients are female. I mean, when I look at, all the success stories and everything, it's no, I have an equal number of men and women, And so I really have kind of stayed true to being a place where there's a conversation between men and women, and you hear the different sides, and one person would say something and then the man chimes in, and this is my, it's just great to see that synergy in action. And then I have a smaller Facebook group for people who are just going through my online coaching program. And so we're about 100 people in there. People who, so people have the same mindset. They understand the values work, because what I do really well is I go deep into values and make sure that you are looking at the right values, and that I kind of orient your dating radar in a sense. So that's what I find. I'm this chiropractor. Most of my clients are cool people. They don't dump big issues. And they just need a little adjustment. They just need something to get them going in the right direction. And then they succeed. I mean, amazing. I mean, I can tell you so many times that within 3 or 4 months of coaching, they meet that person. Now, it doesn't always happen, and I try to be realistic. Sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 2. And, as a life coach, people come to me, and I sometimes have to make sure that their life is supporting their dating efforts.
Yeah.
And so we have to kind of move that. But so Motivated to Marry is probably the best place to start.
Awesome. And so if we were going to just say, who would be your ideal client? You've already said it's men or women, but are they in a specific state, or is there something they really want going on? Who's the best client?
Basically.
Okay.
I mean, My clients range from 30 into their 70s. But people who are seriously searching for that person, I have the never marrieds. They would love to get married and have a family. They're in their 30s and 40s, and the men go into their 50s. And there are a lot of good guys out there, who are still want that. And I had a guy client that finally met that true love, and it wasn't what he originally thought she'd be like, but he got married in his mid 50s. Then I have the divorce group, which because I've been through that experience, and they're trying to get it right this time, and they're ready to put themselves out there and date and meet that person. They're ready to put time and attention to a new relationship. And then I have the widows and widowers now, and I've been working a lot with the 55 plus community. The kids are basically out of the house. They're like, what do I want from me and my life, as a life coach? And then it's like, who's a good partner given my life vision? Because you do need to be going in the right direction. You need to want the same things. If one person wants to retire to Florida and the other one wants to stay, there's going to be a pull, and it's not going to work in the long run. Or one person wants to stay working and the other one wants to retire. So you have to be in the same life stage and want the same things. I've just seen that even though you can have chemistry, that the relationship doesn't really last that long. They try to make it work, and then it just doesn't.
Yeah, that makes sense. So is there any parting words you'd like to offer up to the listeners today before we go?
Well, I think it's really important to get to know yourself well. I mean, you think you know yourself, but really to really delve in and really get that life vision kind of clearer, and what values really are the ones that you want to connect on, because values are the connection tool that I use with my clients. And then, really kind of find ways that are going to work for you based on your personality to connect with that right person. And so, it does take a little bit of an adventurous spirit and willing to go out a little out of your comfort zone. And I think it's important to get support of like-minded people. So put yourself in a community where you don't feel alone going through this process.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your advice, Amy, and it's super nice to meet you. I appreciate your time this afternoon, and we'll make sure to get all of those different connection points and resources in the show notes. So if anyone's motivated to marry, they can find a way to get there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.